on the floor of the ocean. Just see it already clean, because we need to meditate on this daily. See the air being more clean, that the crops we eat are clean, that the food we eat is clean. And then see your body clean, healed, purified. And now align that vibration of thought of a purified mind with a purified body, purified soul. Increase that happiness within just by thinking, I am happy. We are already becoming happier than we already were when we walked through that door. Nod your head yes if you feel a little happier. Nod your head yes if you feel more peaceful. Nod your head yes if you feel like you have control over your mind, that you are peaceful. And with peace, all else comes. And that is how you increase your happiness. Satnam, namaste. Thank you. Thanks, Dad.
Welcome back, everyone. How's everyone feeling? Great. That was amazing, Sunny. Thank you so much. I'm ready to introduce our speaker for today. I'm really excited to have her here. She's also a personal friend of mine. She's an incredible woman, Dr. Diane Radko. She's a clinical psychologist for over 33 years here in Boca Raton. She's committed to helping people transform and really grow and change their lives and have more power in their life. She's very spiritual. She's all about mind, body, and soul connection. And without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome Diane to the stage. Thank you, Diane, for being here. And she'll tell you more about herself and what she does.
No, I'm grateful to you and all of the people who join us today for this blessing of being here and being able to share in our journey. What's the first significant communication we experience? What's the first communication of messages that we experience in life? After birth, the first communication is touch. We communicate to our child, brand new baby, and they feel through the experience of being touched. And our energy and whatever we're feeling is exchanged through that touch. Communication affects every aspect of development. It affects self-esteem. It affects the ability to speak in public. No. It affects your identity, your ethics, your beliefs, your feelings, your relationships, your family. It affects how we relate to leadership, how we relate to communities, how we relate to society. And so therefore it affects worlds. We communicate messages to elevate or to do something else. I choose to elevate. It's a conscious process. Communication is a mind-body experience. In my work as a therapist over the years, I've discovered that in order to truly heal, in order to truly be able to experience joy and peacefulness, we have to work with the system that we're born with. And that system includes our mind, our emotions, and our physiological process that communicates messages about our thoughts and our emotions. And so communication is very much the same process. What we think affects, this is the process. I'm sure most of you know this. Our thoughts create our emotions, and our physiological process is telling us about whether or not the thoughts we're having are positive and creating positive emotion or negative and creating some kind of disruption. I just want to go for a second into the fight or flight response. I'm sure we all have different levels of connection with that physiological process that happens no matter what we do. No matter what we do, it's present and available for us. The fight or flight response is the natural reaction we have to something we perceive. Something we perceive creates a thought. And if it's a positive thought, we will have a positive physiological reaction. If it's something that's in any way frightening, or in any way, it doesn't have to be something big. It could be, the anticipation of having to do something you don't really want to do, a doctor visit, or it could be anything. It could be very small or very large, but the fact is that physiologically it's the same response, and it's controlled by our thought process. So, but unfortunately, once it is stoked, once the fight or flight response is stoked within us biochemically, it requires a concentrated, purposeful method to disengage from it. So the fight or flight response is really the stress response. On an emotional level, when we have things that distress us, whatever it is that distresses us, once that physiological state is initiated, it has components to it, like we have elevated heartbeat, we have increased perspiration, decreased. If it's extended over a period of time, there are many, many parts physiologically to what it does, to what's involved in the fight or flight response. But the reason I'm bringing it up today is because we have to have an awareness of that process happening within us. Unfortunately, stress is cumulative, and it's also something we learn to acclimate to the point that we don't really know that we're carrying it around. We don't really know how it's affecting us because we're not aware of that it's happening and how it's happening within us. So, Sunny, you were 100% right when you said that happiness, which I use the word happiness to refer to peace and joy as well. We do have to learn how to manage stress because negative thoughts create negative emotions, which create physiological stress, and that stress has to be attended to in order to get the biochemical clutter out of the way so that we can think clearly. Once we think clearly, then we can process clearly. So, any of you know what your trigger stressors are? Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Yeah. Yeah. Here's the thing about canceling, though. We have to have the method to be able to think it through differently so that it's no longer an existing reactor for us. It's good to say cancel, but then we have to do that. The doing it part is a little more involved. Anyway, so the fight or flight response bypasses rational reasoning, immobilizes our rational reasoning skills, and once we relax, we gain back our rational thinking skills. So it can be a large stressor, like an ex-husband issue, or it can be a small thing, like rushing in traffic and getting behind somebody who happens to be texting on I-95. It could be It could be just the realization that you have to have a phone call, that you have to have a conversation with someone, and that it could be the perception that somebody is judging you. It could be not knowing what to do with our anger in a moment, in a situation. It could be a deadline. It could be a misunderstanding with someone. Doesn't matter if it's small or large, it's the same physiological response. And as part of the process of learning how to get back to that peaceful experience, we have to address the stress, and there are many vehicles for addressing stress. Meditation is an amazing, wonderful way to get oneself into a system of disengaging. In addition, we have to know what to do with our thoughts and our emotions and with the situations in front of us. And that adds to, that's why I created the Heart of Happiness. The Heart of Happiness is a 4-part webinar series that involves learning about to connect with and really deepen your understanding of your mind-body process, understanding the keys of key components of a happy mentality, and developing your happiness mindset. And then, which is an amazing tool, but it's an involved process of learning how to get there, what to do with it. And then I apply it in individual ways to a person's life and make sure that each person gains the steps that they need. So the thought process, we understand, is very important in how we react to things, what initiates stress. Then the emotional part, again, what do emotions tell us? Why are emotions important? What are they for? I'm sorry? Exactly. Emotions are information about what means what to us. They're not necessarily always indicators of what's true. They're just indicators of how we interpret life, and they're indicators of our belief system and how reality is exchanging, in which way it's exchanging with our belief system. So they're important to understand that they are just guidance along the way. We're not supposed to live totally in our emotions. We're supposed to use them as an understanding of what means what and what makes our world meaningful in the ways that it is for each of us. Thinking about thoughts for a second, something very important that maintains keeps stoking the fires of our fight or flight stress response are whisper thoughts. What are whisper thoughts? Whisper thoughts are nagging thoughts that never turn off. And until we make the conscious choice to turn them off, they're in the background affecting our physiological state of peace. Therefore, our mental state of peace or our emotional state of peace. I can give you an example of my particular whisper thought that never quite goes away. If there's a dish in the sink at the end of the night, I can't sit down and relax. Okay. I can't imagine getting up in the morning and putting my fingers on a cold, wet. Ugh. So, what else? What are other kinds of whisper thoughts? Whisper thoughts are, I have to have a conversation with someone and I'm uncomfortable. Here's a good whisper thought. You have to have a conversation. You know it's going to be unpleasant in one way or another, so you just avoid it. And do we really forget it? Do we put it aside? No. It's back here making your adrenaline and cortisol activated throughout your system until we face it and address it. Anybody? Yes?
Is it important to acknowledge whisper thoughts?
Actually, that's one of the most important things we can do. The whole idea of the Heart of Happiness webinar or the Heart of Happiness program is to be able to become conscious of what are all the components within me. We are born with this beautiful system that's available to all of us. We have a mind that works the way it's supposed to. We have an emotional system that works the way it's supposed to. We have the body that gives us messages about what's going on that we have to attend to. A whisper thought creates the sensation that tells us that something isn't peaceful, something isn't at rest. If we don't acknowledge and pay attention to the messages, we have to understand the messages from our emotions and from our physiology that work together to allow us to consciously be able to address an issue. And so, yes, we have to acknowledge our whisper. It's not about turning off our reality. It's about tuning into it, understanding what it means to us in our unique way, how it's affecting our lives, whether or not it's causing stress, and learning how to design your path, being open to the messages from all the systems that we were born to use to guide and direct our lives. And so communication falls into this category, this concept of mind-body experience beautifully. In order to have a true sense of peace and joy, relationships are very important. In order to be in a relationship in a way that feels gratifying, not only do we hope to be in communication with someone or in connection with someone who has the skills to make that easier, we have to be in charge of our skills, of how we communicate, how we connect, how we relate. And so I have I put in front of every seating my little outline. For healthy connections with others, we need to have each one of these qualities, or skills, I should say. Awareness of your relationship patterns. Effective emotional control. What does that mean? Having the ability to quiet your mind. Knowing how to identify your feelings and not just automatically project it onto the other person. And knowing that we all have the responsibility of dealing with something that's upsetting to us, and that it's not the other person's responsibility. Their responsibility is to to do the same thing that we have to, which is be conscious of the steps and the importance of being able to manage our own emotions to get through the process of connecting with someone. Cooperation skills, communication skills, listening skills, trustworthiness skills. What's that? What does trustworthiness mean? Being able to show up and be conscientious enough to be trustworthy for the other person. Knowing that, developing that skill, developing that intent. The ability to experience and express empathy and compassion. We can always come up with reasons why we just can't do it. We can always come up with reasons why this one or that one upset us. But whether they upset us or not, we have to choose to be empathic people. We have to choose to connect with compassion. We can't wait for an external circumstance to be the way we want it for us to feel what we need to feel. Our emotions, our philosophy in life, our experience of life is entirely reliant upon us choosing to be the masters of our own destiny. We don't want to live in the vortices of external situations. What about being interpersonally safe? That might be a little different for each person, right? But what it means is being conscientious enough to know that we've controlled our judgmentalism, we have enough control over our own reactivity that we don't impose it on somebody else, and being very aware of how what we say is going to affect the other person. I always say I speak a lot with my clients about the concept of anticipating how your words will fall on the heart of the other person. That's a skill. That's a skill that we develop better when we're in better control of our stress, because when we're in better control of our stress, we can experience our thoughts more clearly. We can observe ourselves experiencing something rather than getting caught in the moment of it, and then we don't necessarily impose it upon the other person. All of these skills of consciously connecting, consciously communicating are our gifts that we have to step into and keep raising our own enjoyment of the responsibility of being able to create that internal environment within ourselves. Can you imagine what it would be if each person within a relationship chose to be conscious communicators, not observe the other person, not critique the other person, but just keep building their own? Can you imagine the level of safety there would be to be able to address anything. So I want to do a little exercise. I want to talk about body language, because body language is a very powerful form of communication. Body language never lies to us. It tells us what we're feeling. It doesn't necessarily tell us what the other person is feeling. It tells us what we're feeling. And it usually is even more powerful at times than words. It's another way of communicating. And it's nature's way of communicating, of a line of communication within ourselves. So let's think of, I want you all to close your eyes and just let me walk you through. I think I skipped over it. Here we are. Close your eyes and just let me walk you through a situation. And I'm asking each of you, because we're trying to build a constant internal awareness of the flow of our own mind-body relationships and the variables that are involved in that. So what I'd like you to do is just notice what you feel and where you feel it when I describe this. Imagine you're happily at an event and you're speaking with some people that you're truly enjoying the conversation. And you notice from the corner of your eye, somebody walks in, and that person happens to be someone with whom you've had a conflict in the past. Freeze in the moment. What do you notice you feel? In this moment, what do you notice you feel? Where in your body are you feeling anything? I'm sorry? Anger, yes, anger. Somebody said, yes, a contraction of on the physical level, probably also on an emotional level, yes. Yes, so it consumes your mental energy. Is that what you mean? I used to, right? But in that moment, the first thing when I put myself in that spot, I think, how can I hide? How can I just? Wouldn't you know? They make a beeline for me. Anyway. So the idea that what I'm trying to say is that body language will always be a method of messaging, a method of communication, a method of describing how each one of us is feeling. It's one of the systems we can rely on to help us evaluate a situation and tune in to what we're experiencing, but also then design a strategy for what we're going to do with that. We can't just react to our discomfort in life. We can't just escape. We have to function. We have to be in life in ways that are productive and purposeful. And in order to do that, you have to know which messages you're experiencing. You have to know which emotions you're experiencing. Very often it's not just enough to know our emotions. We have to identify the source of the belief systems that drive our emotions, and we have to work through some to a higher level of personal philosophy and understanding, so that we work with it, with all those systems within us. So, where did you feel? I meant to ask you to each, as we were going through the different skills for healthy connections, I was going to ask each of you to evaluate yourselves. Not critique, not criticize, but evaluate and ask yourself, how do you truly feel you function on each one of these variables? Because I think what's most important is that we identify who we are and how we're growing and how we can, which next steps we can take to be stronger, better, wiser, deeper. All of that leading to a sense of peace within ourselves, which leads to a feeling of joy and connectedness. The more we understand what we're feeling, the more we understand, we develop the thought management skills, really, that control against stress, the more peaceful we can be. In order to have a mind that we can use reliably, we have to be calm. That calmness allows us to think more clearly and strategize better. I thought I would do a little exercise with all of you. on the concept of anticipating how the heart of the listener will receive your words. I thought maybe I could have just two people as my hello, come join me. But yeah, come, great. Thank you. Oops. Helen and Shirley. Thank you so much. Here's what I'd like the two of you to do, and what I'd like the audience to do is just anticipate how you might deal with this. The two of you, if you face each other, the two of you have been in a situation, let's see, one of you is boss and one is employee.
I'm boss.
Oh, all right. Okay. I better write that down. Yeah. And you're employee. And you, I hope you feel okay with this. Yes. Okay. It's just role playing. It's not like for real. Okay. Not for real. Okay. Okay. You didn't do some project that Shirley needed you to get done. Okay? I want the two of you to have a conversation. One is, we're going to do this 2 times. The first one is going to be that you're angry, but you're trying not to just lash it out, but you're angry. Okay? And you are feeling, I don't know, whatever you want to feel. Maybe you feel badly that, yeah. However, let's just see. Here's what I want the two of you to do. Just have a conversation about how to deal with that issue, that Helen didn't complete a project that you needed her to. Okay.
Helen, I wanted to talk to you about this because I could see that the deadline passed for the spreadsheet that I've asked you to prepare, and I'm concerned that it's not done as it should have been done.
I'm so sorry. I had a rough night last night, and I couldn't get it done by the time 10 a.m. this morning. I'm so sorry. I'll make my best efforts to do it right now.
Well, I understand that you had some personal difficulty. I appreciate that, but truly, a deadline is a deadline, and if you see that you're missing a deadline, I need to get an email, a response. I need to know about it in advance so I can prepare.
You're absolutely right. I will be in communication with you next week.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh my God, that was so good. I was angry. I didn't feel like you were angry. That was really. Did you feel like Shirley was angry? No. Okay. That's okay. How did it feel? How did it feel when you had to confront Helen?
I'm very comfortable because
Is this what you do? Oh, you have practice. No.
Israeli. Okay. How did you feel, Helen, when
I'm used to being confronted.
Really?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What did you feel physiologically? Did you feel any stress? Oh, you didn't.
No, used to it.
We're not
Okay.
good volunteers.
No.
Well, that's all right. It was really the spirit of helpfulness that brought you here. Okay.
It could have made me feel anxious and constricted in my heart. Yeah.
Okay, but that's what I was going for. You could have. Did anybody out there feel any discomfort when either Helen was talking or when Shirley was talking? No? They're so nice to each other. I know. Yeah, you're so right. Okay. Anybody? I'm sorry? That's right. Okay, this isn't a good place to be angry. Okay. So I would like you to, Helen, I would like you to tell Shirley, and all I'm asking the people in the audience to do is identify what it feels like when you're in this situation. Okay? And see where you feel it. Notice where. It's really all about our own perceptions, our own dance with our mind-body system. So I'd like you, Helen, to say to Shirley that you're uncomfortable with her confronting you. Okay. Have a little conversation that way. Okay, and let's see how that goes for you.
Shirley, I must tell you, I'm really uncomfortable and I feel a little bit upset that you confronted me in this way. I've always done the best job I can for you, and I promise I will in the future.
You you want my actual, what would be
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you're bringing such a great point. You know, sometimes when we get angry, we forget about all the good points, all the good things that the person have done. So I accept that. I understand that you really have done such a beautiful job consistently, and the fact that you've made a mistake this time is absolutely forgiven. I understand that you're going to alert me in the future for such mishaps, and I really enjoy working with you.
Yes, I promise absolutely to be in communication next time. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Do you notice what's happening here? Yeah. Yeah, there's such a peaceful feeling. She's you're This is really a beautiful example of conscious communication, of anticipating how your words. You might, whatever your aggravation was, whatever your disappointment was, you were able to put it aside and anticipate how to get your point across without being threatening and without being unkind or without being bullying at all. And you were so receptive, your guard didn't go up, you were receptive, and you were wanting to look for a solution, which are the points that your little handout makes for you. So thank you both so much. Oh, big hugs. Good. Yeah.
I just want to make an observation about that exchange
Yeah.
in my words, because one of the things that I often say is that even with conscious people, we're very human,
Yes.
and we can get triggered. And I kind of have the assumption that everybody has a very conscious, humane aspect to respond,
Mm-hmm.
and we all also have what I call a fuck you response. And I've got a big one, and I'm a pretty conscious person, so I assume that everybody's got that. And in my words, what I didn't see triggered here was the fuck you response.
Right.
Which is how we usually feel when we've been challenged or confronted.
Yes.
They were both coming from that conscious place.
Yes.
And I'm assuming that you were kind of looking for the fuck you.
Yeah, I was looking for a little of that.
Consciousness, but it's really a tribute to the tone that was set here, that wasn't even available.
Thank you. I think that's true. But I do want to go to that, make a point about judgment and judgmentalism and anger. Here's what anger is. Anger is just a warning sign that we're either feeling violated or vulnerable. And in that process, our job is to identify what caused the anger, never to act on the anger. And you're right. These people, that everybody gathered here today is here because we're on a quest of consciousness. So it's such a beautiful thing that this little exercise really it didn't demonstrate, it wouldn't apply to those of us here in this moment. But every single human being is going to have moments when we're angry. Here's the thing with judgmentalism and anger. When we're not attuned to the uncomfortable energy that those experiences have, and when we're not aware of how to deal with them, what'll happen is we create a power struggle. We create a bullying situation. We create the opposite of consciousness. We create a lack of safety. So for each one of us to be conscious communicators, we have to be aware of the judge within us, the judger, and how we control and manage whatever need that comes from. So, and the same thing with anger. The solution is to always seek an understanding of why that made you angry and address that. And then the anger will dissipate. Anger between people, even in the most intense moments, even in the most justified situations, if we can look at it that way, doesn't solve anything. If anything, it fans the flames of stress and division. So let me tell you about my Heart of Happiness program. Over on the other table, I have a flyer about some of what I do, and I have a little brochure for my Heart of Happiness. I have 2 ebooks, a free one and an expanded version. And if any of you has any interest in learning about the Heart of Happiness program, and please check out, you just go to my website, www.drdiane, D-I-A-N-E, Diane Abdo, D-R-D-I-A-N-E, A-B-D-O, and you'll see a little button to click on to download my free ebook. And I invite you to do that and take a little journey into understanding all the messages that we get that are available for us to learn how to manage our stress and how to create a more peaceful inner world. And then there's the more expanded version is also available on my website. And I look forward, the webinar will be available September 1st, and I have a little flyer over there if you have any interest in just looking at it. What a pleasure to talk with all of you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diane. That was amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say something on the subject really fast. It just came up to me lately because I usually get triggered with my kids. That's one thing that I get triggered pretty easily. And I've always been on a quest of how I can be a better mom. How can I do better with my kids? How can I be a better example, a better leader? Because when I'm reacting, when I'm angry, when I'm not coming from that place of love, then I'm not teaching them anything that they can take into their lives and recreate. And one day, when they're with their kids, and I'll be seeing them doing some things that I used to do, I'll be like, I could have done better. Like, this is something that I'm really committed to my whole life, is to keep growing and just being a better person. And I think that's what we're all here, is because being here is a calling. It's wanting to be better. It's wanting to grow. It's wanting more consciousness in our lives. And that's the beautiful thing of us getting together. And what I noticed lately is when I'm in my head, right? Because being in our head is like being, I always say, in a bad neighborhood. So, right? So when I'm in my head and I'm sure. When I'm in my head, right? It's not really a good place to be because I start thinking and I start, why do I have to do this? And this is like too much, and he's aggravating me, and she's doing this, and this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong. Because our head can really take us to all those really, really wrong places. What I've noticed lately is when I connect back into my heart, my love, my heart, I get out of here and I bring it back to my heart. That's where I can come from this place of real love and real peace. So if we could take a second every day when things happen, just to pause and be like, I'm in my head right now. Notice, like, I'm in my head right now. How can I bring it back to my heart? Because that's where I can come from a different space. Because there's acceptance, there's love, there's connection. There's just, everything is possible when we're in this space. So I just wanted to bring that in because that has made a huge difference in my life, huge difference in how I parent my kids, how I see my kids. Focus on your heart. Your heart is where the magic is. It's not here. So I wanted to bring that in, and thank you. This was amazing. I just wanted to just add that. Right. Yes. That makes sense. Definitely. Thank you so much. Really grateful. Thank you, everyone. Here is Kristen. I'm going to hand up the microphone. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Noah, for sharing that additional little nugget of yumminess to our day. Thank you, Dr. Abdo. That was incredible. I think that it's so awesome to see that every single Conscious Co-op luncheon brings a different element of consciousness and well-being to those that come. And thank you so much for being here today to have that element brought to the table. And it really felt like we were in kind of like a group talk, like a group meeting. Like everybody was helping each other, loving each other, supporting each other. And that's the whole point of this group is to do that for each other. So thank you for being a part of that. So just a little wrap up here. Our next meeting is August 31st. And we will be featuring the lovely Shirley Solis, and she's actually in the back of the room there. Shirley comes all the way from the depths of Miami, which, is not easy. So thank you for being here today to check out Conscious Co-op. Shirley is a master peak performance coach. She is an author, speaker, mom of 6, right? Family catalyst. She calls herself a family catalyst. So she'll be talking about families and about her journey and the wonderful gifts and awesomeness that she has to share with all of us. And it's going to be an incredible meeting. So I would encourage you, please pre-register. That way, we know you're going to be there and you get the early pricing. It'll be so wonderful. Everybody wins. So that's it. Pre-register, follow Conscious Co-op on Instagram if you want. You can join our Facebook group if you haven't already. Join the Facebook group. You can find all the information about Conscious Co-op on Noah Crane's website, which is noahcrane.com, Noah Crane. She hosts lovely and generously the Conscious Co-op kind of forum and posting that goes on. So if you're not on Facebook, you can check it out on the website. And that's it. We're so happy to be here for you. If you have something that's going on that you want to put on Conscious Co-op Facebook group, I invite you to do that. If you'd like us to post it on the website, send it to me, send it my way, send it to Noah. We're happy to support you. We want everyone here to be conscious and well and happy and connected. That's the whole purpose of this group. So please stay in touch and try to make it to our August 31st luncheon. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.